Ho, 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 Merry Wednesday, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. We're getting ready for another LWDW. Plenty of things to talk about this week. You know, things happened, and it's extra special adventure time because this is only the second outing for a brand new used motherboard powering our entire audio stack this evening, which always makes things a little bit extra dicey.
Yeah.
How's
I
everybody
haven't
doing?
gotten a used motherboard in years.
Sometimes you run across a good deal, and this was the most used of used motherboards because it didn't even come in a box. Normally when you get something from Amazon warehouse, when you do, it'll have the packaging and whatever, and like, oh, somebody bought it, returned it. This just came in the static bag in a box. That's what I got.
Yeah. I've gotten a lot of stuff like that from them.
Hello. What are we talking about?
Or it was an OEM one. Was it an OEM motherboard?
No. Tonight, this afternoon, we got a couple things we're talking about. The Vision 5, risky business with Ubuntu, 30 years of X screensaver. More Ubuntu stuff because they brought in the .NET, but that's going to be reserved for our Microsoft Loves Linux segment. And of course, a 7-inch color e-ink display. Not only could you afford, but you might want to get. Yeah. There we go. Hello, Gamatron. Hello, Micro Artheron. How is everybody doing?
Matthew. Oh, Matthew was... Yeah, he's in there.
They were arguing about ATI cards. I still have, like, an ATI card. I don't even know if the ATI card I have works on x86. It might, because I know it works with Ultra 10s and Ultra 5 Sun hardware. I've never tried it on x86. It might have like one of those weird BIOS flashes. I don't know. But we were talking about video cards in the pre-show, how it's weird. It's kind of strange that, yeah, you can buy your NVIDIA cards and stuff like that now at a reasonable price. They're in stock. But how eager are you to rush out and buy a 3-year-old video card at this point? Like, this is old tech. They're about to release the new ones. You got to imagine, like, at least NVIDIA's in a tight spot. Self-imposed, I might add. They got a 40 series just about to come out. And no one's been able to buy the 30 series. Like, what are you doing? So I think maybe we'll see some, like, crazy deep cuts in pricing. You know, if I see, like, a 3070 Super for $400, I'm going to buy one. I'm not going to pretend I won't.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, then you're going to have the thing of, like, what if by that time the 4060 is out with 12 gigs and it's faster than a 3070 Super? I'm like, well, I'll just wait and get that. It's a nasty cycle to get caught up in.
I've been putting off buying my RX 6900X because it went down $300 at $700. So, and I hear prices are going to go down more. So I'm waiting. I think I might grab it if it's around $600, $650. That's a good savings from a $1,000 video card.
Yeah, $1,000 video card. Never done $1,000 on a video card. I've done. It's how strange, how normalized pricing has gotten with video cards, because not that long ago, like less than a decade ago, probably 7 years ago, I bought the biggest, baddest NVIDIA card on the market, and I hated myself for it for like 5 months too, because I'm not that person. I bought a 980 when they just came out.
Yeah, I remember that.
And it was absurdly expensive. We were talking about it on the show for a long time. At least I was, because like, I can't believe, that a $500 video card even existed. It's like, this is insane. Like, why? How could you get and B, I bought one. I had like $540 I spent on that 980. And that just seems like child play these days. You're like, $500, yeah, that's what you'd pay for a video card, right?
Yeah. Yep. Well, because I came from the world of animation, I'd spent over $1,000 before on a video card, and that was back in the 90s. So that was a thing.
What video cards?
Oh, like Radeon Pros, and then there was a couple cards, companies that aren't even around anymore that were used for rendering.
Why would you need to retire the van? Have you found out? I have faith that BeastVic is finally going to get some custom cars. Once he gets that technology done, Ogie will finally have a custom car, and he will not be a random car each and every week, which makes it a lot easier to identify.
Yeah.
Who's who?
That's what's nice. I like my pink caddy.
All right. We got about 4 minutes before we're going live.
Okay. I will be right back.
I need to pull up. One of these terminals is connected to the Jitsi server. All right. That's not too bad. The van would no longer be relevant. Oh. Yeah, I guess so. We can have that. So one of the things I'm going to be asking, you can get your replies ready, is this video is being brought to you by 5600. At least the video on this monitor is. I want to play around with it because the motherboard again has a display port out on it and it can do consumer 4K 60. I'm like, oh, that's neat. Plugged it in with a Debian 11. Which was, what's 510? It's running 510. Didn't notice it during the install, right? Because you don't expect anything during the install. I'm like, hey, I got a screen. It's got some graphics on it. Winning. We're going to get everything set up. I put X, launched it, and it was like some weird moon resolution. It was like 1070 something, and it was at a weird refresh rate too. Like 73 hertz. Like, what is going on? Then I thought about it. I'm like, right. So I installed kernel 518 from backports. And everything popped up. Everything was fine. But some interesting graphical glitches. But I think they're only related to Reaper. I think that's it. I got to play around with it. There's a bunch of stuff in the UFI for like the video stuff. Like, I got to do a bunch of research on it. We're very much at the, hey, it worked point right now. But here's the question I have. For everyone at home. I'm going to put it on the show. Because I thought it was kind of silly. Was this monitor has a bit of a redshift to it. Just a bit. Enough to be noticeable. Which, fine, whatever. This is like almost a 10-year-old monitor. And I've always gotten around that by pulling out a couple of percent of red in the NVIDIA control panel. I mean, it's one of those things, and you do your NVIDIA settings so that runs NVIDIA settings only. When it boots, it's not a problem. Where is the equivalent of that for AMD GPUs? That's not, here's like my weird thing that you're going to get upset about. That's not tied to KDE or not tied to GNOME, because I don't run either of those. Is there, and I'm thinking for new users too, because I got it fixed, but it was on the command line. For new users, is there the hue and saturation, like your basic little slidey thing where you can select your RGBs and like just dial things in how you want it for AMD? I'm curious if that tool exists, because the internet told me no, it did not. And mine, I couldn't find it. And I didn't look too hard, because I knew how to adjust. And I mean, again, you could always adjust your monitor's color too, if you want. But I think there's an argument to be had for I would rather suffer for like 2 hours trying to find something on the internet and kind of work versus trying to set color profiles on any monitor ever made in the history of ever. Well, Mira, I managed to change it without using anything from the D. How did that happen? Help me out. Maybe it was a fever dream. But, and we're not talking about color profiles, by the way. Maybe that's what you're thinking about. I would like to know if that tool exists. Not for me. I've already fixed my problem. I'm thinking about somebody coming over to Linux, because that's a weird experience, right? Are you back?
Yes.
All right. Let me get a quick drink, and we're going to get underway.
Okay.
Hey.
Oh, hi, Steve husband. Good to see you in.
Yay.
Hi, Matthew.
Oh yeah, what mug today?
I got my Disneyland one.
one of my Disney ones, my Minnie Mouse one. I had such a great time last weekend at Disneyland. And I have actually, it's my Mickey Mouse Disney tech shirt that I got from Scale several years ago. So I got a couple of them because they've been at Scale before. And yeah, it's a celebrate technology at Disney that's done on Linux. Makes me happy.
Steve, what do you mean it's muggy? Are you walking up to mirrors and you're like, just mugging? Is that it?
No, it's high humidity today. So I have my air conditioner on.
Vacuum packed in a tiny... Oh, man. At least it wasn't vacuum packed in like a tiny dodecahedron.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, so Disney, they packed it so good that it takes a couple washings to get the wrinkles out. It's a little annoying.
To this day, I have a cheap desk mat, PC desk mat.
Yeah.
That I ordered from AliExpress. It's been years ago. And it's just something to put down on one of the tables. To this day, it still has the creases in it where it was folded up and packed.
Yeah.
Like, I tried everything. I ironed it.
Oh my. Yeah. I know. I hate that packaging. Sometimes it works. It's good. Like I had for the Linux Chick-fil-A booth at Scale this year, we had had cute little baby stuffed penguins. Mm. Well, the original ones I had ordered for our booth were plushes and they weren't vacuum packed. But the second package I ordered, they were all vacuum packed. And I'm like, oh no. But fortunately, when I opened it up, they all poofed. Mm. So they were okay. So
yeah, I was worried when I ordered because I have this glass desk, so I have these big. You can't. Oh, that's kind of difficult to see. I have this is a small slice of moo cow,
Oh, okay.
but I got
Leather.
like a real big, like I got a quarter size slice of moo cow over here. That you've seen it if you've ever watched any of my
Yeah,
interfaces.
yeah.
Yeah, that entire thing. But they had the good grace not to roll them up.
Oh, good. So we get all the creases and
I was like, don't fold my cow.
yeah.
Gamatron, I will talk about that in a moment. I sure will. I will give everybody an update on Blue Thing number 1. It was the optional blue thing in my life. Not kidding. I wasn't even kidding when I was thinking like Saturday. Like there are already two blue things in this rack back here.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. Blue audio hardware
It's strange. Yeah.
finds its way to me. All right, I think
Well, it makes them easy to identify.
I don't have that much stuff. I got more that I need. And a lot of it is weird stuff that is nigh impossible to give away. Trust me, I've tried.
Oh yeah, Plex I got the email from Plex.
Oh, yeah,
They got
didn't
a
we?
breach.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know what? Technically, I am, but Zathnas has been powered off for years.
Yeah. The same. I haven't used my Plex server in years, and I never bought anything, so I never gave them my, credit card and all that. But that's all expired anyways, so I'm kind
I
of
think
not worried
like a lot
about
of
it.
people, I was like, well, I have a Plex login, which I do because I remember talking about it on this very show years and years ago when we were talking about a Plex update. Because I had put Plex on one of the boxes upstairs just to check it out with like the tablet. I did buy the Plex app on Android. I still have that.
Okay.
But-
So I never bought it. I just used the free version.
Well, I bought it through Google Play. They don't have any information on me
Yeah.
from that. But
Yeah.
installing Plex is on the PC is like, oh no, it was on the Android app because it was shady. 'Cause it's like, hey, you need to log in and create your Plex account. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And I'm talking in like a hair off gray to slightly lighter gray in the bottom left hand, no, it was bottom right hand corner, I think.
Mm-hmm.
It was like skip. Something intentionally hidden. I'm like, I don't need to log in through your online service to access my Plex server. This is Then I looked like, oh, that's shady, man.
Yeah.
That was shady.
I kind of
Like,
remember that.
trying to trick
Talking
me
about
into creating an account.
Yeah. Yeah. I just
well-
played around with the free one, set my own up, but I did use it for a while, but
That was always an interesting thing, like going back and like, oh, look, because you know everyone at Plex knows what everyone used Plex for.
yeah, I know.
I mean,
Yeah.
that is just like the unspoken thing. I want to watch my old Dragon Ball Z music videos from 2002. But yeah, I don't even mess around with like having stuff local stored. I just whatever. It's there. But yeah, I was reminded that I had a Plex account, which I thought was like, huh. I read that this morning. Yeah. I gotta find your outro music, as we do each and every week. Right. Man, it'd be really nice if also Merkshire had a playlist. There you go. All right. Just in case anybody's wondering, it's me.
And you
I'm
want
not an
me to
imposter.
clap in the mic then?
When we record.
Okay.
This is, welcome to having audio systems dialed in within a millisecond. Which means timings and things like that change when you change CPUs, motherboards. You think I would get better at finding the end of the song, but no. Hard rock.
You know what I used to use a lot more than Plex actually was MediaToom.
Never used Mediatomb.
Yeah, that was it was command line, and I used that for ages.
There it is. All right. I think I need 4 more versions of the Rick and Morty dance song. Maybe I'll be able to find it. AMV.
Yeah, jellyfin's the best new option, I think. Definitely.
That's what the kids are using.
Yeah.
See that? That's what the youths consider their physical media.
Yeah.
Oh man. Did anybody watch Game of Thrones? I did.
Oh, okay.
Why did I watch Game of Thrones? Because it's got Doctor Who in it.
Yeah, Jellyfin is good about that. Yeah, that actually I set up Jellyfin not too long ago. I just never used it. I set it up on my TV and but it's,
I
it's
wouldn't look.
a great open source option to Plex.
My VHS and DVD collection. Okay, the weird one I had was I have Freddy vs. Jason on DVD. I don't know how I got that, but I have that. And I have Rocky Horror Picture Show on DVD, and the 2 VHSs I own. Here's the weird one. So I Married an Axe Murderer. I have that, and I have a typo negative thing we recorded a long time ago.
Oh, okay. Wow. Oh, Gamatron, we missed you yesterday. And yeah, Arthur, and that makes sense. You still have VHS and DVDs around. So do me and Steve. We have lots of them.
I gotta readjust, Jill.
There we go.
We're getting there. Boop. There we go. Okay. Having some people, like, if that's your thing, the inconvenience of just the thought of like, hey, I want to watch a thing. Let's go find it. Take it out of a case.
Yeah.
Put it in the thing, close the thing, play the thing. You primitive person. But each to their own. All right. I think we're good, Jill. We can
Okay.
get going. Everything is together. And that's good. That's locked. So I hit stop. But you didn't think I meant it the first time. Also, player there. You record. And we're going to record now. There we go. And give me a sync clap, Jill, so I can get us calibrated. All right. I'm going to do this too. I got to play the game.
Okay.
All right. Those will be dialed in just so next week.
Okay.
All right. Cool. Let's do it. Hey everyone, welcome back to Linux Weekly, daily Wednesdays where we sit back, relax, take that midweek break, talk about some of the fun things we found going on in the world of Linux and open source. I am Vince Stone, that is Joe Bryan, and you are at home watching us live on Twitch, listening to us after the fact. It's kind of brilliant. We're here, but it's another great day for Linux, everyone. It's been a while since I said that. I thought I'd remind you, but
Yeah.
you already knew. What's new? You're back from your, do you call your Disney... It's kind of a staycation because Disney World's like next door, right? You're like, I just walk over there.
Yeah,
Do the Disney thing.
Absolutely, and that's what it's about. I'm doing Disneyland every month, but that's me and my husband's form of staycation at the Disneyland Resort here in SoCal, and we had a great trip on Sunday. We had fun in Galaxy's Edge, the Star Wars land, and that was nice. We ate there at a really good restaurant, and
Did you have ice cream?
actually, no, but I had Rice Krispie treats covered with white chocolate.
All right.
Those were fun. But what was awesome is my Steve husband got on a ride with me that I never thought he would. It was the Wave Swinger. It's a swing that swings you in circles really, really fast. And the one at Disneyland is one of the fastest around and one of the smoothest and one of the nicest. And he got on that, and I think he was only able to do it because it had a very short cycle, so it was under 2 minutes. So he was pretty dizzy after, but he did it. I was amazed.
All right.
I was so proud of him.
Good on you, Steve. Good on you. It's nice of you getting out there and trying adventurous new things like theme park rides.
Yes, exactly.
Couple of things I've been playing with. If you keep track, I posted on Discord and I posted on Twitter day before yesterday, and I talked about it on Saturday. I was like, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and buy this. I've been playing that little experiment just out of curiosity. I picked up the AMD 5600G for Jackbox because those things are stupid cheap. They're just like laughably cheap these days. And it turned out MSI had a beta BIOS that I could put in, which would allow me to run that on my like 4 or 5 year old B350 motherboard. I've been playing around with that, used it for a little while, but it just really knackered up the BIOS and I like playing with it. Found a B550 used from Amazon Warehouse and I rolled the dice on it. I did. I was like, you know what? $85? Why not?
Pretty
Free
good.
shipping? Yeah, why? It was definitely the used version because normally when you get stuff from Amazon Warehouse, it'll have the box or packaging. This was a box with a static bag in it that had a motherboard in it. That's all we got. That's everything. That was in and out. And I was like, all right, fine. Always a little bit just, oh, what's wrong with it? Pulled it out. I only found a small amount of mystery goo around one of the screw posts. I'm like, what is that? We're going to swab that off. Maybe check it for DNA. And it had clearly been used. I found a little bit of thermal lube on the ZIF socket. Like, all right. Okay, somebody used it. Didn't notice anything visually broken on it. I want to get onto MSI. This is the B550A Pro. I think like down at the bottom near the PCIe 2x16 slot, like on a ground plane, there's this one lone resistor surface mount that is covered up that looks like something you would want to scratch off of a used motherboard. Like, ew, what is that? Get that off. And I scratched on it 2 or 3 times. I'm like, wait a minute. And I put a magnifying glass. I'm like, oh man, I almost scratched off a surface mount. It's all by itself. It was kind of weird, but there it is. That is my motherboard. Look at that. Look at all the fancy stuff in our audio box. Not really. No one has commented on my cable management, have they? Nope.
Nope.
Just a comment for a modern hobo.
It's not that bad. You routed them behind, so.
Like, what are you supposed to do with them? Like, you plug them in. Like, there's no big deal there. That is the entirety of the box that runs our audio chain. It has a fiber optic card and an audio interface, and that's it. Oh, there's an SSD in there, and an NVMe. There's an NVMe under the NVMe cover. That's it. That's the thing. Also, thanks everybody who showed up for Trackmania yesterday. That was interesting.
That was fun. Those were hard maps yesterday, but I'm looking forward to practicing.
I'm going to look forward to all the excuses laying out Friday, but I know myself, Ogie, and Beastvic, not going to be one of them because I got irritated about an hour and a half later. I'm like, you know what? There was this one map. I'm like, I know I can get around that. I log back into the server, Ogie and Beastwick, we're on that one map. Like cycling. I'm like, yep, here we go. Let's do it. Let's sit down and figure it out. I got around it. And we did it. There's some big challenges. There's one map I might pull out just because it's a little more RNG than I like. But you're welcome to come hang out. We got a private server. It's open 24/7. And Friday we do points matches where we give out free games for the top 3 spots. So, and it's a good excuse. It's Linux and Laps with frenemies. It is brilliant. We have audio live in the voice channel. And to answer Gamatron's question, I bought the blue thing. Not the blue thing. There's another blue thing I gotta get for the audio thing. It's like this Midas 500 series thing. There was this vintage blue thing that showed up. Weird, old audio hardware that's blue finds me, Jill Bryant.
Yeah.
I don't look for it. It finds me. Comes out of nowhere. and it's always reasonably priced, and it's always of questionable use. It'll be here tomorrow.
And they're bright blue, not just like a subtle
one,
blue. But
this one's baby blue.
yeah, see that? That's
But
wow.
You know what? I think you'll find the aesthetics of it very pleasing because it is the most vintagey looking vintage thing because it's 45 years old.
Yeah, that's amazing.
It is old, classic radio hardware that we're going to plug in. Just play. I might do a video on it. Again, it was like super cheap. I'm like, I don't need that. Fine, we're just going to get it. Because you make those deals. Maybe you do it. I know I do. But like on things you just don't need, you'll sit there and you're like, you know what? If that's still there 2 weeks from now, you go back and check. I'll get it. But it was still there. I got to make some custom cables for it. We'll find out. So, this is, we're not sponsored by Canonical this week, but we got 2 Canonical stories. But one of the Canonical stories falls into the Microsoft loves Linux segment.
Yeah,
So
it does.
You decide. Something we're all excited about, myself included. Jill's going to tell us about the Star 5, Vision 5, Risk 5. That's a lot of fives.
Yes.
Boards.
So yeah, Canonical is actually very proud to announce the Ubuntu release for another piece of Risk 5 hardware. And yes, it's the Star 5 Vision 5 board. And the Star 5 is the first actually generation of a cost-effective RISC-V single board computer and is designed to run Linux with Star 5's JH7100 Vision Processing SoC. And this SoC is equipped with a 64-bit high-performance RISC-V dual-core processor with a 2 megabyte of L2 cache and running at 1 gigahertz. And it has 8 gigabytes of RAM, a 40-pin GPIO header, and end-to-end hardware and software infrastructure. And what's interesting there is Venn has just found one on Kickstarter that's even cheaper, that's even higher end. Can you tell us about that, Ben?
Nope, that's my secret, man. I'm not going to tell anybody about that. That's crazy. So, you got a couple of options with your Vision 5s. Traditionally, out of the box, they're like, hey, go download this Fedora image, which makes sense. Fedora's big enough, bad enough. But yeah, I was looking around with this, and currently right now, if you get the one that, good on Canonical, you went out and you're like, hey, this is an official image, you can download it, and it's good because we need stuff like that for RISC-V development. Mm-hmm. But if you want the board that you can buy right now, it's $179 for an 8 gig Pi-like device, but it's RISC-V. It's not ARM. In this brave new world, that's not a bad deal because you could actually buy one, unlike a Raspberry Pi for 8 gig, which maybe if you get lucky, you get on the right waiting list, you just show up at Adafruit on the right day, you can snag one for $200 or whatever or you can just get blatantly scalped on Amazon right now. Mm-hmm. There's a Vision 5.2 in the works, so that's what Jill was alluding to.
Yeah.
I found the Kickstarter for that 28 days to go. It's already got 42 grand out of the 28 goal. They're just doing market research for these Kickstarters. These things are already, put together, ready to go. And I like this because this is a quad core.
Nice.
Not only is it a quad core, it's a whole lot cheaper.
Yeah.
$93. And you know what? I might be tempted to just pick one up to play around with. What do we have? Basic one, and that's for the one I want. If you can get a regular 2 gig version for $46 and 4 gig for what is that? There's Buddy. Oh, $68 more. For $68.
Nice.
Maybe. And of course I was like, well, why would you install Ubuntu on this when you could install Debian? I went and looked at the Debian installed instructions for that, and I noped right off that page. I'm like,
oh, wow. Okay.
that wasn't a Linux installation. That was an experiment.
Yeah, it's still
it's one of those,
in
like,
alpha.
I could technically get it up and running, but I don't hate myself. I would probably just put Ubuntu on it. Probably I just run Fedora on it, but hey, each to their own. I don't have any RISC-V hardware to play around with. It's just not been...
same here.
I haven't seen anything that I thought I could make use of, if that comes across correctly.
Yeah.
I don't buy stuff just to like, oh, that's fun. I play with it and I put it up. But like something that I could turn into like one of these co-host boxes or, something to run the Stream Deck or like that. I might pick one of these up. I might just go ahead and break one of my rules of not ordering pre-release hardware only because they've proven that they can ship these.
Yeah.
And I can't really get anything else right now. Well, maybe.
So yeah, it'll be really nice when there's a version of Ubuntu available for the new Star 5 board, and I'm sure this Ubuntu image may have compatibility with that new one coming out, or they just have to make some adjustments. But Canonical porting Ubuntu to RISC-V, is to become actually. It's going to become the reference OS for early adopters. And I think this is a really good choice. And especially because there is a long-term collaboration now between Star 5 and Canonical. This was actually really huge news. And in fact, Cindy Goldberg, the vice president of Silicon Alliance at Canonical, stated, Canonical and Star 5 are partnering to create an enterprise-grade Ubuntu image for the new Vision 5 board, bringing open source software and open source hardware together for developers to build a broad range of computer vision applications at the edge. I can't wait to see what developers are going to build with this Vision 5 board and Ubuntu. So yeah, this is really big news. And you can actually right now download the latest Ubuntu Server 22.04.1 LTS image for the Star 5 Vision 5 board. And it's in our show notes. The link is in the show notes.
It might be fun. If it's anything like Ubuntu for the Raspberry Pi, I will do a hard pass because that is a dumpy, sluggish distribution.
I think this one is going to be quite a bit faster because it's on faster hardware.
I don't because, it's RISC-V. It's going to be arguably much slower than the compatible or comparable ARM solutions.
Yeah.
RISC-V's got a long ways to go, kids, before.
It does. It'll be interesting to see what the specs are with the quad-core one, how much better it is.
Yeah, well, it's the new thing. It's something to play with, it's something to tinker with, and I applaud everybody, even Canonical, who's out there, getting ahead of the ball, which is good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, I want everybody to get off my lawn because X Screensaver was released 30 years ago, 4 days ago. That's right. Dude completely forgot about the anniversary until someone pointed it out to him, which is why
cool.
This post is 2 days late. We're talking about 1993. The first version was served from export mit.edu. All right. May have also been uploaded to the archives from 1992. Seem to not exist at all. Probably there's an ISO of some Linux distribution from 1992 or 93 that still have the source of these versions. Possibly. Go search if you can find it. There it is. Now, I had to roll around and think about this. My first thought was, when I think about old things like X Screensaver, which is still available, like, what about X Snow?
Yeah, that's a good one.
Next year, X Snow turns 30 years old.
Yay.
Which is kind of fun. It's
awesome.
Yeah, get off our lawns. But I mean, if you've been using Linux for any amount of time, you're familiar with X Screensaver. It's the thing you remember to disable when it pops up and gives you a panic attack after a fresh install, which has definitely happened in pre-shows, because I now have images for the 3 co-host boxes I have, but for a while I was just, popping on Debian default and letting it run, which happened to have X Screensaver enabled by default, and it would always pop up like the weird error message screensaver, which would give me a panic. And I'm like, what just happened? And I would have to snap over and look. I'm like, oh, right. I had to disable that. And you know what? Screensavers are just nostalgia at this point, because every monitor made in the last decade plus has power save mode. It just kicks in automatically. You don't think about it, but it's still nice to travel down that memory lane and take a look at the classics on something other than a 13-inch CRT that we all know and love.
Absolutely.
I think it's pretty neat.
And it's nice to see that X Screensaver is still packaged with a lot of the desktop environments. So I'm happy, like XFCE. It's really nice. And they even have their own XFCE, and he has their own little front end for it. That's nice. So, last week we had talked about Debian turned 29 and GNOME turned 25, and now X Screensaver turning 30. That makes me, actually, Ven, that makes me feel really old.
That's because we are really old, Joe.
That's because we are old. And I have spent so many hours of fun going through all the screensavers available in X Screensaver over the years. And I remember actually being excited back in the day when you got screensavers for Linux that weren't available for Windows and wowing my friends. So because that's something I could say, oh, Linux has these cool screensavers that Windows doesn't.
I mean, it's very difficult to explain to somebody getting into computing today. Like, you legitimately had to have a screensaver if you're going to leave your box on for any amount of time. And that was, it was a style personalization. Like, I want to get this. Then, of course, the Matrix screensaver came out, and we just all used that. But, that was always interesting. Like, it's fun thinking about how much time was spent.
Yeah.
Like, finding the ones that you liked and the ones that you wanted to use to. It's just not a relevant tech anymore.
Yeah, definitely. Well, some of my defaults were like the fiber lamp. I love that. That spun and had all the cool colors on the top of the optics, on the optic wires. And the Julia sets, part of the Fractals set of screensavers, and the Star Wars one, and XLiAP, which was another Fractal-based screensaver. And those were my default desktop screensavers for many, many years.
It's just, I can't put a point in it, but at some point you're just like, oh yeah, the monitor power's off. I don't.
Yeah, I know now. I just
anymore.
Yeah, that's what I do too. Yeah.
Strange times. But yeah, that'll be in the show notes if you want to go down that memory lane. And this time next year, we'll be telling you about X-Snow.
Yes, absolutely. That's still one of my favorite. I still use that one because it runs on your wallpaper.
And, well, I mean, the holiday type things, because I mean, like a lot of people, I have no idea. It is getting near December until VLC shows up with a Santa hat on. I'm like, oh.
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
Right.
That's a thing.
It's the season, isn't it? That is the thing. But, ladies and gentlemen, we know it. We love it. Can't
Microsoft
get away from it.
loves Linux.
Look at it. I mean, that's nothing but raging care. Canonical has, I told you this is going to be Ubuntu heavy.
Yes, it sure is. So I think I actually saw this coming, Ven. Canonical is incorporating Microsoft's ASP.NET and .NET SDK into Ubuntu 22.04 LTS. And a lot of you out there probably know that open source .NET has actually been available in Ubuntu and other Linux distributions for a long time. But this collaboration by Microsoft and Canonical will better secure the .NET software supply chain with enterprise-grade support. So .NET 6 developers can install the .NET 6 packages on Ubuntu with a single simple command: sudo apt install .NET 6. That's all there is to it. And Canonical and Microsoft actually built this .deb package together. And it's big news because Canonical is actually going to work in concert with Microsoft's new distro maintainer .NET group. And one of Canonical's goals is to secure the software supply chain from source to packages, eliminating the middleman. So this is actually really great news, and kind of one of the last things that needed to be incorporated in Linux for the development community for Microsoft.
Well, I can definitely see everyone, over in Red Hat, Fedora, Susie Land going, about time, welcome.
About time, yeah.
I need to bring that up because I saw a lot of like, this confirms it. Microsoft is buying Canonical. I'm like,
yeah.
Everybody else includes .NET. I mean, this isn't the real story is, you see, Microsoft is shifty, man. You can't ever really pin them down what they're really up to. Microsoft is trying to force people to uninstall Discord on their Debian boxes.
Yeah, Ben, you had an adventure with this.
Turns out, if you install .NET, it has a very serious conflict with Discord, and Discord gets nuked.
Oh, boy.
It's a bug. It's an open bug. I went and looked around and I'm like, yep, that's real. It's a blocker, and it's confirmed. So keep that in mind. If you decide to play around with the .NET on your Ubuntu box, you're like, where'd Discord go? That's where it went. Microsoft loves Linux. Now, .NET, Microsoft is 100% Microsoft when it comes to .NET. You know, you got the open source language with the proprietary development tools, like the debugging. Like, yep, that sounds like Microsoft, doesn't it? But you know what? Is this going to open the door for .NET applications to finally be included in Ubuntu? Probably. That's not a bad thing. And of course, telemetry is still opt out because Microsoft.
Yeah, true.
I just couldn't get over the like how do you want to uninstall Discord?
That is, yeah. Yeah, I'm glad you installed it because I was a little
install it, Jill. I just found the bug report.
Oh, okay. So you didn't install it. Okay.
No.
Because I was thinking about installing it and I'm like, well, it's still kind of in beta. It's not really fleshed out yet. So, but yeah, that doesn't stop me before. I constantly install alpha and betas for reviewing here on the show.
These are two things I do not do on a production box.
Yeah, I wouldn't either. I have my show note machine, one of my machines I do show notes on that has a bunch of testing stuff on it. And I'm not going to lie, though, I was a bit creeped out by this. It's like, oh, here comes .NET on Ubuntu.
So, there's nothing to be creeped out about. It's probably the most peaceful, serene image I've ever seen. I mean, it embodies like everything, Microsoft is about these days. I mean...
That's a great picture of Nadella with a background of Microsoft and a fist holding up.
Entertaining. There was one day in the Discord, Scott's like, "Where did you get that?" I'm like, "GIMP."
Yeah.
I made it.
Yes, he did.
Speaking of Discord, that's something you can pop in and hang out with us if you become a patron. Patreon.com/LinuxGamecast. We got a bunch of rewards. We got a bunch of different levels from Cheerlings, Death Notes, Sea Monsters, all the way up to becoming a corporate overlord. Yes, that is an option, but that does get you access to our Discord, private RSS feed. We do bonus shows each and every week called the Pre Super Shows. And if you're wondering behind the scenes what we got going on, all that fun stuff. If you like these shows and you just want more of it, the live and uncut version is in produced podcast format, also available in video for you for helping us out because we really appreciate it. Also, if you subscribe on Twitch, that's another thing. You can come play Trackmania with us and you can pop in the Discord as well because we're there having our conversations about the Golden Girls currently.
Yeah.
Not kidding. Yes. I just looked over and like, yep, Golden Girls. That's the type of really rush stuff that we like to chat about. But stick around for your names in the credits. LinuxGamecast.com. We got Amazon wishlist, all the fun stuff. We got a store. Plenty of ways to show some love if that's your jam. Now, this week, we got to get inky.
Yeah, this is exciting. So, this is revolutionary. We've been waiting for this.
Pictures on cakes are revolutionary.
Yeah. Oh, that looks like a very kind of turn of a century cake. The photos in frames.
Well, now we can make one in color.
Yeah.
We sure can. Color e-ink. Yeah, it exists. It's a thing. And it doesn't look bad at all. I was kind of surprised. I went back and watched the video. I was more surprised that you can get a 7-inch color e-ink screen for $83 in 2022. Yeah. That's kind of amazing. And Tim kind of walks us through everything we need to set up a nice Pi-powered photo frame and using that Inky board. And it's just really slick because there's no wires or anything. It just plugs right into the GPIO pins. Like, click, you're done. Now go put it in something. Very easy to set saturation, all the software. You can even use it to display web pages. And what I like, we get all the way down to the bottom. Like, that's the actual e-ink right there. Look at that.
That's beautiful. It's so well done.
That's dope. I mean, it looks really, really good for $83. And look at the board. There it is. There's the Inky board. You just click it in. You're done. That's it. But what I like that Tim did, if we come down to the bottom, get ready if you're watching the video. It's going to scroll by so fast. I'm going to scroll past it. Look at that. He fit everything in using a Raspberry Pi Zero with a little LiPo, and everything will fit in a 4x6 picture frame.
Wonderful.
That's pretty cool.
This is so cool, Van. We've been, honestly, we've been waiting for this for years. When the Amazon Kindle came out with e-ink, when their devices came out with that technology, we were so wowed by the low power usage, and you could have it on for months and months, and it never runs out of power. It's just amazing. And I don't even care that this color version has a slower refresh rate than the black and white displays. Just to have full color on e-ink is
I don't
pretty
either.
big
I see
deal.
it as a bonus. You know what? I like a challenge when I play Doom.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, I mean, look at this application. It's perfect for a picture frame, or just having something static like you would on a display for a business. I mean, it's amazing, and I was really surprised about the price too as well. I figured, this is going to be several $100s minimally. No, like Vince said, $83.99 at
Micro Center.
Micro Center.
Ah.
And mine actually had one in stock, and it still had one in stock. I checked this morning, and I'm just amazed it's under $100 for a color e-ink display.
Color e-ink, and it's a nice, slick, self-contained package. It's not, I was expecting, $83, maybe you get a panel, then all right, let's solder this together.
Solder things, yeah.
No, just kind of click it in, and now I really do want to play Doom on it, because that sounds like a haha funny joke.
15 seconds refresh.
Which is only slightly worse than trying to play Doom on the first color laptops.
Oh, yeah. Those old TN panels. Oh, my gosh.
It wasn't playable. We did it to have like, hey, come here. You want to laugh? Watch this. And you just turn around and Doom. And just smear it. So, yeah, there's that. I don't know what I'd use it for, but it's there. I'm sure somebody's got I like the idea, because if you can pull up web pages, that'd make it really easy to automate and put stuff up on it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And like
digital
alerts.
signage. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That's one of the downsides with the e-ink, though. No backlight.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
It's one of the reasons I don't use my Kindle. I like confusing my brain at night. So.
Well, they do have Kindles with lights in them, but that's separate. It's not part of the screen.
Yeah, like that was like you can get lights remember the old Game Boy clip-on light things, and I was never a fan of. I'm a huge fan of backlight and like reading. But if you've ever seen a screenshot of any tablet I have, it's like all the way down plus extra dim. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't mess my eyes up, but that's usually how I roll. But this is just cool. This is color. If you do anything with it, send us some pictures in. Or if you'd like to get a hold of us, we have a contact form at linuxgamecast.com. Love to hear from you. Drop a YouTube comment. Or if you're brave, really brave, you can leave us a voicemail on Spotify or Anchor, which apparently requires you to do like a somersault, a backflip, or something like that. It's not terribly straightforward, but we can play it on the show. We've done that on Saturday. We had one person take us up on that, so we know it does work. Jill, we get anything else before we bounce out of here?
Oh, boy. That was a lot of news. So, no, I don't think so. I think we're good.
Let's roll some credits.
Wow, we have right now we got Gamatron and Steve Husband and Artherin and Strider and Mir and Alex Sipes in chat. We got Scott Scoots and Beastwick. And Beastwick is also listening to us live on audio in Discord. And we have all our wonderful patrons. Treggy, Veritanuda, Nova, and Foxdog, Gamatron, and lots of patrons that I can't even read the text right now. But you know who you are.
We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Love you all.
That was 32 minutes, Steve.
Yay!
That's what we go for. 32, 55, 19. There we go.
Yeah. Yep, Treggy has a little one now, so he's pretty busy. He's a parent. I miss having Treggy around.
It's pro-adulting.
Yeah.
Aw, thank you, Steve Husband.
Yeah, I'm so proud of Steve for getting on that ride. I did not expect it. He goes, well, I'll go on with you. I'm like, what? Really? And I went on it again after I went on it the first time because I love that ride so much. Wave swinger.
Why did you get on it, Steve? What's the real story behind this?
He's been trying new things.
I got him to go on roller coasters again after he hadn't for years and years, and now he loves going on the ones at Disneyland.
I like roller coasters as long as they fit in them.
Yeah, that I'm sure would be an issue. The Funkytron.
We're doing good. How are you?
We talked a little bit about this in the pre-show. Might have been in the pre-super shows on Saturday. You can now buy a, one wheel, like unicycle one wheel. The one wheel like Adam Savage has.
Oh, yeah.
There's a souped-up version that can do 83 miles per hour freedom units.
Oh, my gosh. I haven't watched that video yet. I'll have to go and check because I watch his stuff.
No, he doesn't have one. He doesn't have one.
Oh, okay.
This is the company's releasing one.
Wow. No, that would... I've been on unicycle, and I love those things.
And, imagine it at 83 miles per hour.
Yeah, no. No. I mean, I'm balanced enough that I would feel, as long as I could fall and not hurt myself.
You would die instantly if you fell.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, on a bike for that matter, just regular bike.
Well, for the rest of the civilized world, it's 133 clicks. So, yeah, 83 is... If you wipe out at 83, I don't care what you're on, man. If you're not in a car, you're going to have a tough time.
Yeah.
But I would love to take one on to a skate park and really injure myself.
Oh my gosh.
Try to jump hills. That's what I'd do. See if I could get some off-road tires for it.
Yeah, I had a unicycle as a kid, and I loved it. I loved doing that, but, at most 10, 15 miles an hour, not 83. I can't even do a bike that fast, let alone I can't even drive a car because of my vision, so that would scare the heck out of me. I'll be on a roller coaster that fast, but not a...
I drive slow. I got a pretty hard rule about not going over 120 on road tires. Like, is it dangerous?
Mm-hmm.
Oh. All right. Oh, yeah, I need to log into Jackbox and see how hot it is.
Oh, yeah, I'm curious. Yeah.
Because I didn't set any... But see, this is one of the things about having that non-B350 motherboard with that shoehorned UEFI in it,
Yeah.
is I have the fan control thing back. What just happened?
Yeah, I have a mini ITX B550 that I picked up for a build. I didn't pay what you did, though. I paid a lot more.
Where are we at? Composite, TCTL's at 40, and how fast? Yeah, 1100 RPMs on the pump fan.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm happy
That's
with that.
good. Hmm. Do, 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 do.
Getting Ryzen 9 for Linux. No, don't do it. People come to your house and make fun of you. And Strider will. Like, whatever you want. Doesn't matter.
Oh yeah, the 5600X is a great processor. I have one of those too in one of my Ryzen computers.
Yeah. That's the whole thing. There's no such thing as like overkill. I promise you, I probably do a lot more demanding stuff on Linux than people who consider themselves professionals do on Windows. Yeah, I use the 5600G to power my sound card. I do. That's the one thing I have in that box. With the 5600G. Oh, I take that back. It's got the fiber card in it. But yeah.
Fiber card. Yeah, that's nice.
That's what I use my 5600G for. It runs the sound card. So my idea of overkill might be a bit warped. Okay. That's insulting. So the Threadripper Pro 3955WX has dropped in price 2%, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh wow.
They're
2%.
They're practically giving it away at $1570 right now.
Wow.
There is a 12-core Threadripper Pro though, but I can't find one. Like outside of like Lenovo. AMD, you need to release that into the public channels. Because I don't need a 16-core. Like, I'm not even joking. I'd get an 8-core Pro if they made one.
Yeah. Yeah, because if you don't need 16, that's... or 24.
I don't... Like, I can get away with a CPU crunching ability. That's just... I just want that 128 PCIe lanes.
Yeah. Need that for all your hardware and all your things.
Yeah, AMD doing the announcement on Monday. I'm glad that you brought that up, Scott, because I thought I missed it. Because I knew it was a Monday, but you know, in this strange, troubling times, and we have no concept of what Monday that was supposed to be, and I thought I missed it until I just read that, and I'm like, oh, neat.
Oh, it's next Monday? Nice. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. I did bark. I put that in my calendar. I'm looking at it right now. Yeah.
Because Pedro wouldn't know what to do with a Threadripper Pro, to be blunt. He doesn't have the hardware. What's he going to do, put a bunch of video cards on it? Like, see, that's one of the downsides about getting rid of, like, regular Threadripper for AMD, because it takes out my segment, which is the prosumer, content creator, and I have weird things that you do not have at home, that normal people just...
Don't have, yeah.
You don't even know they exist, and you're probably a better person for it. And that goes into like the use cases, but the Threadripper, just regular Threadripper, wasn't like, that's gonna hurt buying that, but you know what, I can make it happen. The Threadripper Pro is just straight professional. You know, it is priced for like Bob in accounting and be like, yo, we need 5 of these. He's like, I don't care, fine, done, here. It is a painful purchase. You mean a retro laptop? Man, NVMEs have gotten cheap.
Oh, I know. I know.
Like PCIe 3x3.
Mm-hmm.
Giving them away.
Terabyte was like $60.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like from companies with names that you can pronounce.
Yeah.
I keep thinking I have some knockoff NVMe in Jackbox, and I was reminded of it when I did the motherboard swap. It's Mushkin, so
Oh, the Mushkin.
yeah. I keep thinking it's like some random whatever, and I was like, no, that's the one I have in the Raspberry Pi. And if you're wondering, all in motherboard swap on Jackbox was about an hour, but 30 minutes of that was pulling out the Ryzen 1700 CPU because I was not sticking the 5600 in there and cutting it on when I used the motherboard. And I had to reseat the RAM not once, twice. Because it wasn't booting. I'm like, powering on. Then I was like, oh, look, micro LEDs. I wonder was maybe, all right, where's the manual? What's that one say? Memory problem. I knew the memory wasn't bad. So, you take it out, you swap. Here's something they did. Maybe this is the thing. It's a cost saving measure. Normally in your DIMM sockets, you have both sides that pop in and out, right? Your clips. This board only has clips on one side. The other side's hard. Solid. So you got to put it in there and only clip it on.
Oh, yeah. I've run into that before. That's
cost saving.
Yeah.
But,
annoying.
I did what I did. I took that, pulled the two memory sticks out. First, I went and double checked the manual. I'm like, okay, this should be furthest slot, skip a slot, then slot in. I'm like, yeah, that's right. That's fine. Swapped them, tried it, didn't work, popped them out, popped them back in, and it just booted. There we go. Well, I mean, they just do it for, oh, you got that? Yeah, I don't like that design. It seems
No,
like
it's not. Especially when if you transport the computer, it's one more thing that can come loose easily. Yeah, it's annoying.
Yeah, Strader, same thing goes for software, right? No one needs new software. Yeah, that was just the first time that I'd run across memory clips like that. Like, whatever, I didn't lose any. The only reason I even brought it up is because I had to reseat the RAM twice. Which, out of the things, you know something is going to go wrong when you're putting together a computer or swapping it. Anytime you touch the motherboard leaves the case and something goes back in the case, it's going to get its ounce of blood. Sometimes it's blood. Sometimes you got to cut yourself and sacrifice a little bit. There's always going to be some weird little problem. And and I've legitimately had problems where it was, you know what? Let's just take all the PCIe cards out, put them back in, cut it on, and it worked. Like, okay, fine.
Yeah, a lot of it has to do with the flex of the motherboard and where the standoffs are located. On one side, one side of the motherboard might not be as strong because there's not a standoff under it than the other, and things come loose. And I always put every standoff I can on the motherboard. It's always
yeah.
MSI, a lot of people don't. They'll do the bare minimum. I've seen horribly built computers.
I don't associate with morons, Jill.
Yeah. So I've gotten some that I've bought off eBay like that. And I'm just like, oh, freaking, this is bad. So I take the motherboard out and put in all the standoffs and do it correct. And I like the middle standoffs, not the plastic ones.
One of the things I'll say to MSI's credit, the standoff positioning between 5 years between motherboards, exact same. Yeah. I didn't have to move a thing.
I know, yeah.
Because that was the first thing of like holding it over and like, do you line up? Do you line up? Oh, neat. Click.
Yeah, I mean, actually, now cases have this. Some of the cases have the standoffs already installed on the case.
Strider, you say that's like it's a bad thing. It's awesome. That's a fantastic thing. I want computers to get even easier to build so more people can get into it because it's a good stepping stone into technology. I'm very excited that young people want to build computers. I know it might be a weird thing for you to think about, being old and crotchety as hell. There was a time where you were a young kid interested in computers. On the internet, no one knows your dog. Yeah. I mean, now I do understand, like, how much of it is just, because I was trying to think about that. I wasn't really rushing when I was swapping out the motherboard, but swapping out a motherboard's the equivalent of, like, swapping out an engine in a 356A out of a 912. I mean, it's very common, easy to do. But what are the challenges? Like, I could see what people kind of get thrown off about because, you got to think about stuff that you just know. Like, okay, that's main board power right there. Let's click that in. Okay, there's going to be something like EPS rails, right? I'm going to do stuff that you don't even think about when you're like, click, fans, and let's go ahead and do that real quick. Okay, let's grab that bunch of spaghetti and read the mice type on it and find out because, you got to do your power reset switch. And of course, you
P6,
always,
P5. Yeah.
you go for your reset switch because that's your Rosetta Stone with a plus minus on it to tell you which direction's what. And I'm like, okay. Like, I could understand some hesitancy, just plugging in your SATA.
Yeah, you're very correct, Steve Husband. He had learned about jumper settings when he helped me with computers that I was having a hard time seeing the jumper settings. So I'd have Steve Husband read them for me so I knew where to put them.
There's 25-year-olds right now that have no idea what a jumper is.
Yeah.
That is something I do not miss. Hard drive jumpers, motherboard jumpers, video card jumpers.
Yep.
Modem jumpers.
Yeah, that was a thing. And because we lived through the era of non-slotted connectors, like, power supply connector, if you plugged it in wrong, you fried your motherboard. It's like, they weren't slotted.
It took a long time for them to fix that, too.
Yeah,
the
did.
Original AT power cables. Made sure you had catch-up touching.
Yeah. And to this day, I still think about that. Even though everything's slotted, I double check. I triple check, just because of paranoia from years ago of not having stuff slotted. And, looking at the power cable and see what pin 0 is and pin 1 and, the whole 9 yards.
Oh, yeah.
I still do that.
You double check everything.
Yeah.
I remember when I was putting together this Threadripper motherboard with all the extra power cable, like new power cables to me. Stuff that you just don't see on a consumer motherboard. I'm like, oh, man, because, it's got a 1,000-watt power supply in it.
Mm-hmm.
Stuff like that. Like, I'm not sure how this goes in, and I was having to go double check.
Yeah.
And I don't think anybody misses those days.
No.
I mean, there was something to be said about being able to define your IRQs per card. Like, if you could keep track of it, but then again, you had an operating system that was blissfully unaware, you had to tell it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you had an IRQ conflict or something like that, that was easy enough to fix. Like the early days, like Windows, when I was trying to do the plug and pray, that was a dumpster fire for a long time. Like, usually the 100% guaranteed to work solution was to go into Windows and create new conflicting IRQs, and it would make the other device work correctly.
Yeah.
It was laughable.
Just finding the right, like you could piggyback some cards off the sound card. Sometimes that'd work, sometimes it wouldn't. I played that a lot because I was doing, workstation level computing, and like you, Ven, having to fill every PCI slot. It was just insane. It was insane. Still have my full towers, my rendering boxes, and I had to have full tower full AT motherboards before ATX. AT motherboards, just so I could put all my hardware in the motherboard.
That's pretty much what you got for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, like, people being excited about building a computer these days, and you got to understand, though, that's not a, like, that's a big undertaking coming from zero.
Mm-hmm.
We all started there at some point. Now, zero was a long time ago for some of us, and we've been able to grow up to, like, to this day, I'm envious of people in like their mid 60s and 70s, because they grew up in when it was a common thing to, write an operating, and it was still a viable thing to do, to write an operating system over the weekend.
Yeah.
Like that knowledge base. And like, that's not really feasible to do anymore. But, things getting better, getting easier, people having the desire to play with the hardware and learning the research, because you got to do a lot of learning. You do. No matter how easy a PC is to get all the parts and stick together, I always get excited when someone's like, hey, I want to build a computer.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, well, you need to go check this out, because they're going to have to go on the internet and they're going to have to search. And that's going to help them, if they don't have it currently, develop those skills. And, reasoning too. I was like, no, make sure you don't follow the advice from the person that says to use cooking oil to like clean your CPU or anything like that. So.
And then after you build it, learning how to troubleshoot the computer, that's one of the biggest issues is just troubleshooting after you've built it. If something's not working, and going through and backtracking, oh, what did I do wrong? Maybe my RAM isn't seated correctly. Maybe my GPU isn't, needs to be reseated. Just simple things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And the BIOSes today make it so easy. I mean, again, me and Ven had to share IRQs in our award BIOS. It was insane.
I would argue that BIOS today are equally complex, because we have access to levels of hardware that we didn't have.
Yeah, but you don't generally have the conflicts, where you're having to share.
Oh, you don't have basic conflicts right there, but you have all types of different timings and C states and stuff like that you can fiddle around with these days. Things that just didn't exist on CPUs of those days.
Mm-hmm.
And
but it's nice that they have the different BIOS have like default settings, so for new users to come in, so they don't have to go through all the advanced settings. It's really, some manufacturers are better than others with that. I like the Asus. I think is a really good for someone to start with.
And to your point, Arthur, the overclocking is like that. If you're going to make a motherboard, you need to have a reasonably well fleshed out overclocking department. Be it, MSI is pretty good about that. Their advanced settings, what they allow access to, and just like figuring out RAM timings.
Yeah, and that's a trick. You gotta first get the right RAM for your motherboard, especially if you're gonna have a Ryzen system, AMD. It's a little more flexible with the Intel machines.
Well, Ryzen's modern Ryzen's, you just buy. Make sure your numbers
the right numbers. Yeah.
The first gen Ryzen's, it was hit or miss for a long time. There was a lot of BIOS
2400, 2600.
I will say, I put the Vengeance. I just put the old RAM back in. I'm like, I need 2300, and I did the, with MSI, XAMP 1, you hit that, and if that works, you're like, okay. If not, XAMP 2, that usually gets your settings and your voltages right, so you can just crank it up to 3200 or 3600, whatever you want to run it at.
Yeah.
Then we get like resizable bar support and all that other stuff now. It's a bunch of stuff I'm going to play with. Like, I want to see what it's like to install the AMD binary drivers. I don't even know if they're available for the 5600 yet. But I want to have that experience and see what it's like. It might be horrible. But yeah, we used to have to, set your multiplier, your clock speed and all that. Back to jumpers. That was the bank of jumpers next to your CPU. And that was in even like the K5, K6 days of like, okay, because I remember writing an email to whoever it was at the time, motherboard manufacturer, because they didn't have the right in the paper manual. The jumper
Honestly,
settings
I
to get
still
the right
prefer
clock speed.
hardware jumpers if I can get them.
They don't exist.
Yeah. Actually, there are some. Asus still has some on there. A few of their boards, the higher end ones, you can get ones with jumpers for overclocking.
If you get one made for overclocking, I'm sure they got.
Yeah, but it's convenient and easy that it's in the BIOS now.
The only overclocking jumper I have on the Threadripper is I have a jumper to set if I plan on cooling it with liquid nitrogen.
Yeah.
It's the LN2 jumper. I'm like, all right, sure. I don't know what it does, but it's there. You know what?
So true, Beastie. Yeah, a lot of people are just like, I just want to build a computer and have it done. They're not.
And those are called regular sane people.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to learn how to do it. A computer's not an easy thing to stick together, no matter how easy it is to put together. I mean, you can get it to boot, but that's why there's an entire industry for pre-builds. That market exists.
Yep.
Like, if you don't want to mess around with it, you go by and you're not going to get the best of the best by any stretch, and you're going to overpay for it. But at least that option is there.
Yeah. Or if you don't have time to build one and you're in a big job and you just need a computer quickly, you can have it, Amazon deliver it in 2 hours.
Is that modern pre-built world? I mean, pre-built's been a thing forever too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you get warranties. Just never try to use them. I have nothing against pre-builts. I have pre-builts here. I have 2 Dells and an HP down here.
Mm-hmm.
They serve their purpose. They're butter robots. I don't know what Dell did with these 3010 cases, but for not having a single filter on any of the air takes, these things are spotless on the inside. Like, every time I pull them apart, I expect to have to get some big chungus dust bunnies. No. Well, Strider, at our age, building a PC, a modern PC should be
You can do it
exceedingly...
without our eyes closed, pretty much. And
Well,
literally, I could do it.
That's the challenge. Multiple people have done that online. That would make it a little more difficult to put one together blindfolded, but I've seen it done live. So, by 2 different people. I think Shroud did it, and I think Gamers Nexus Steve did it.
Yeah.
Which is all good and fun. Yeah, I mean, Newegg, Amazon, whatever. One evil corporation slightly less evil than the other evil corporation. This week, stay tuned. Next week, that could all change. I don't know. I think the sad thing about Newegg is people remember,
I know.
Newegg used to be just a big consumer champion, especially they had their legal department going after people, and in the good way. But it all happens. There'll be another one. We'll get another version of something that's not Newegg. They'll spring up. There's a market for it. Mm-hmm. And you get people who Framework doing the laptops right now.
Yeah.
Haven't heard anything terribly evil about them yet. And the next pre-built I plan on buying, if Valve actually makes it, is I want my Steam Cube.
Yeah.
I want the Steam Deck internals without the controller or the screen on it. That's one little Steam brick. I'll buy one of those. I don't care. It's $400. I'll just give you $400. Done with it. That's an easy decision to make because I got a use for it. All right. Well, Jill, we're going to call it a day. I'm going to go
Okay.
edit this bad boy into a nice little 30-minute podcast. And
Yeah.
I'm going to save that. Then I'm going to go walk outside and see if I got a blue thing on my front porch because it's coming from a Guitar Center. And because I got that email this morning, like, your thing will show up tomorrow, which could very well mean it was on your porch yesterday, which I know wasn't possible because I didn't order it until yesterday. Oh, cool. All right, everyone. I will see everybody for Friday. Trek Mania.
Yes.
Woohoo!
7:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 4:30 Pacific, a little after midnight in Britannia. If you want to stay up late, I mean, it's Friday night, might as well, you're going to be up anyway. Come play with us. I'm probably going to swap out one map, possibly two maps. Two maps are definitely going to get swapped out.
Yeah, I think so. There were 3 that I didn't finish, but I know one of them I will finish definitely, and the other 2 I wasn't sure about. So
This is going to be a challenging week for everyone. If you show up Friday going, well, dang it, I didn't get any. I don't want to hear a word from you if you can't finish anything. You didn't practice this week because that's all on you. All right. I'm not talking to Jill. I'm talking to everybody else. 'Cause I know Jill will practice. Jill actually gets in there and practices. All right, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone. Love you all.